The Vinery is all about awakening faith and flourishing at the intersection of church and university. And this looks like seeing new life and a new sense of call and gifts and passion for university ministry. It looks like a church reimagining and dreaming big about how their church could be a welcoming space for all people who are on campus.
Universities are so full of rich resources and diverse communities, cultural and sociological, and congregations have this incredible opportunity when they're a mile away or even on a college campus to reach out faithfully and effectively right in their backyard.
Through processes like deep listening and purposeful design, the Vinery encourages congregations to re-examine their theological foundations and their role in serving university neighbors. Churches participate in learning community gatherings, guided reflection sessions, and partner church visits, which allow them to gain perspective and consider questions like, what are congregations' core values and practices? How do our history and traditions shape our ministry today? And what is God calling us to do in relationship with our university neighbors? These activities help congregations identify both their strength and areas for growth.
What I've heard from a lot of the Vinery participants is that they had an idea that they wanted to connect with their university, but they didn't really ever think that through strategically, what that might look like for their own congregation or the implications for their witness on the campus. And I think the Vinery has really provided a real deliberate way and practice to go through. So they've said, hey, we actually have done this and seen this work. We want to share the wealth of knowledge we have. I think the other thing the Vinery really provides is you're not alone in this. There's lots of university proximate churches who maybe at one time had a thriving ministry to universities, but are seeing that not happen anymore. And so there's company. We're always smarter together than we are individually.
What I appreciate most about the Vinery is that it honors the sense of place and the uniqueness of every congregation and every campus that is engaged in this work. And so it's not a one-size-fits-all, do this and everything will work. It is, here are the tools you need to cultivate with intentionality a ministry that will support faith and flourishing at the intersection of church and campus.
Since I've been in the Vinery, I've learned about deep listening, which has really facilitated my ability to get to know what the needs of the community are. But also, I have a personal affinity to hospitality. And so I love people, generally speaking, and I love helping students to get to know our church. And so I'm really excited about that.
The framework that the Vinery gives congregations through deep listening gives us a system, a process, a journey to go through to be able to do the work of discernment and to do the work of gathering that information for ourselves. As we gain that information, we can then reflect on it and figure out, what do we do with this? How does this inform the way we can serve our university neighbors? So I think just giving that process to work through, that journey to work through, it just takes a lot of that burden of how do we go through this journey off our hands, but it allows us to engage in it better. Because university ministry is such a key part of God's work in the world, and to have an organization and other churches who will help you in that journey, it just frees you up to be able to do that work better and to do it with more passion, a better foundation.
I do love that the Vinery is about the intersection of university life and faith and flourishing. Flourishing looks like life-giving, looks like moments of peace and wholeness and reconciliation. It has affected how I preach. It has affected how many of our congregants interact with the university students. And the Vinery is helping us, in Judy Peterson's word, stay ahead of the 8 ball, because so many times we just want to look at what we've always done and what the tradition is. And Vinery is pushing us to think in new ways and to listen and to get out of our comfort zones.
I think when it comes to the Vinery, it is not an exaggeration to say that my church would not be engaged in campus ministry with the intentionality and commitment had we not had the Vinery, giving us a sense of community, for ourselves, for our leadership and our planning, for the ongoing support. It has changed our church to live into our identity. We are named University Congregational, and it had been a location and not a population. But that has shifted because of the work of the Vinery. And so it continues to bear fruit in the life of our church.
What we really hope is that churches that have participated in our 2-year cohort experience will become a part of an ongoing network or community of practice that are a growing network of churches that are proximate to universities that want to help one another refine and improve and constantly iterate on the practice of ministry with university neighbors.
In a world where we're constantly faced with tragedy and hardship, I feel like the Vinery comes in and is able to not only deeply listen to the grief and the brokenness and the hardship, but is also able to offer spaces of hope and to partner with university communities to live into a vision of flourishing for the future.